What do you think one of the most common, if not the most common, fantasy of women is?
I don't know.
I know.
I have no
What is it?
idea.
That's actually a really good argument, Andrew.
What
That's
is
a
it?
fantastic
What do you
You're
think
not
it
going
is?
to tell me.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Maybe you're referring to were
very
you talking about
scary.
guys that can't get
See?
sex and then they lash
She
out because of
knows.
violence?
They know too.
I was just more just the entitlement to women. I
Everybody's
just said
diverting.
40%.
Nobody's answering the question.
Can I jump in there?
What do you think the
This
most
turned
common
just real bad.
fantasy of a woman is?
I don't know.
I know.
A British
It's
accent.
to
Yeah, definitely.
the word it's
Dominance.
but
Bingo.
I mean, yeah.
No, I mean it's
No, it's a much more
It's,
than that. I think
uh,
it's much more than that.
they have grape fantasies.
I thought men
It's
have
very-
those more.
Not all. I don't. Like I don't.
I'm
So.
hang on, I'm just gonna go off the facts here. All right, we'll make sure that we all get it right. Number 10, strangers in the night. 9, group sex. 7, laying you out on display for other people to see, meaning you're having sex in front of other people. 6, sexually ravaged. 5, or I'm sorry,
Oh, that's a
4,
lot.
to leave it as a tip. And then 2, strap on, I'm going in. That's pretty brutal, right?
The f- is it?
And then number 1 is SA fantasies. Number 1.
That doesn't mean
There was not a single thing I think you said that I fantasize about. I'm not gonna lie.
same.
Well, okay, while that could be true, I just want you to understand that there's all sorts of things, which I'm sure would be attributed to the majority of men, that perhaps could not be attributed to me. Here's a really good one. I have blue eyes. That's really, really, really rare in men, right? But that has nothing to do with how common brown eyes are, right? So even though I don't fit the mold, it doesn't really mean anything. I'm not saying anybody here has fantasies of being SA'd. I'm just saying that it's the number 1 fantasy.
Well, it is what it is. I
You
guess.
had something on this?
Yeah, this was a lot. For one, he just said that was a list of women's fantasies.
Top 10 reported by women, yeah.
Now, remember previously how I told you that women say something and do something else? Now, if you ask the common women, they just said that's their biggest fear. But you just did a poll that's their biggest fantasy. So you see how women can say one thing and think and do something totally different? So I just want to say that. 2, it's very alarming that women would rather take a chance with a wild animal who is extremely unpredictable over a man who can possibly not do none of those things. That there is a potential with a man. There is no potential with the bear. None. He's going to kill you or kill you later. So for women to pick the bear over a man who can potentially build a fort with you, make a campfire, and just totally assume he's going to hurt you, it's just very disturbing that women have these, or at least they say they have these fantasies that men will just do this. They just assume such negativity about men. It's just kind of disturbing to hear that. It's like, I would never take a chance with a wild, ravaging bear than a human being without having a chance to. I can't even talk to the bear. You can at least bargain with the man, maybe. You just discarded the common interest of talking over a savage beast. It's just crazy how women think today. No offense.
I think it's disturbing that we've been in positions where we feel that way.
Yeah.
Rather than.
Wait, can I? Go ahead. Do you have
I mean, no, I do.
Andrew, I sent you text.
Yeah, that's what. But that sounds good. But according to the list, the number 1 fantasy of women is the thing that you all are saying that you hate.
That doesn't mean we want it to happen to us in real life.
I don't believe you do. I'm just saying. It's just a it just shows the duplicitous, contradictory nature of women that I spoke of earlier. But if you
I
follow,
also have to
I'm gonna let y'all
argue with you,
retort.
though.
Let him
I'm
finish.
gonna let y'all
Let him finish.
retort. I'm not saying y'all feel this way. I'm just saying it's just proof of the contradictory nature of following what women say as according to what they do. Because if I feel like most women should feel how y'all feel, but according to his poll, the number 1 thing was the most appalling thing that they're saying out of their mouths, and it's just contradictory. Like when that movie Shades of Grey came out, women loved that.
A fantasy is in a safe situation. It actually happening in an abusive way is not something you're saying
How is
okay
assault
to.
a fantasy?
And also, let me add to this: a lot of SA victims will fantasize
Over the trauma.
their trauma, even though it was a bad experience for them. They then fetishize their own trauma.
As a man, I would never fetishize somebody beating
And
me
you're
up.
a
That's
man.
the
We are
yes.
women.
Yeah.
I don't. Like I say, what y'all saying, what y'all do is two different things. It don't make sense. I don't see how you can fantasize about something that you put on that you deem is so negative. That
You don't
doesn't make any
understand,
sense
but
to
it's
me.
just
And
genuinely
there's
science.
men that's been
like it
essayed
is.
that do fantasize over.
No, they
this,
end up being.
Yes.
Well-
They end up being
well-
that. They turn all the way over. That's what they do.
I would
It
also
can
like
go
to
both
ask, I
ways.
guess, what is the percentage of these, like this statistic that we got in from the poll? How many women, what country were they from, what age demographics
Yeah,
were they?
this is,
Like, there's just so many other questions.
This
How
is
many
centered
women?
around I'll tell you the answers to that. So this is centered around mostly the Western world. These polls were done between Australia, Western Europe, and the United States, Canada, things like this. And the way that they gathered the data was from dating sites, for the most part. They gathered them from dating sites. Women tend to be more honest in the background of those, and so do men. And that's how they can gather up different preferences. And also, what women commonly search for when they're looking for, corn, for instance. What they're searching for there, you can gather the data that way as well. And this is what we come up with. Now, men got all kinds of freaky shit too. Don't get me wrong, right? They got all kinds, like the thing that they one of their top searches, pretty gross, right? But so I understand the both sides thing, right? I'm not even necessarily saying. I've always thought that the thing about this that was so bothersome to me, in a different way, is that women most commonly say, "Well, if a man spawned in the forest, when they say I would choose him over the bear, he's going to protect me." And I've always thought, well, that's a pretty assumed entitlement, right? It's pretty assumed entitlement that you just instantly assume any man in the forest has some obligation to protect you. Like, I would just be like, well, I'm spawned in with you, but I don't know you. Good luck. Hope you don't die. I'm getting out of this forest now. See you later. But it's always, that has always been the detail of the answer that has bothered me. I understand why. So here, I'll give you an example. Let me give this question back the other way to Brian Atlas and to the gentleman who's there. Would you rather be spawned into the forest with a random bear or with a gay prisoner? Random gay prisoner, so there's it could possibly be that he has no intention, of course, of essaying you because it's random, right? But, also is the chance that he could. Would you prefer to be spawned in with the bear or with the gay prisoner? Random gay prisoner, by the way.
Gay prisoner.
Gay prisoner?
Gay prisoner. I take the gay
Yeah.
prisoner.
Was he gay
What do you
before
take?
he
You
went
take the
to
gay
prison?
I'm gonna take the human every time because I don't have to do nothing with you, but you're a human. You have arms and legs. You can help me pick some shit up. Like, I can't do nothing with no bed.
100%.
Yeah, I think that seems reasonable to me. It's within the confines of reason. It's like, okay, but now they're in the same position you're in. So now they could easily also be overpowered by this person. They even have more information. They know that this person likely has more volatility than the average person. And they are in the same kind of vulnerable position. But according to reason, they go, well, but the chances are still way better, even with a gay prisoner, than they would be with a bear. So this is how you're taking your position, putting it on them, but the answer is far different. And so you kind of wonder why that is. In fact, I would even go so far as to say this. Somebody said with the essay, the dignity aspect. That's terrible for women when they get essayed, absolutely. But think about it from a man's perspective. For a man's dignity, that's brutal as well. And so yet they're still willing to take the chance the other direction. And so it makes you wonder why.
And
Makes you
really
wonder why
quick,
that
Andrew,
is.
Personal
I
preference.
think even granting if this gay prisoner is like 30% faster and stronger than you still take it.
You still take it, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that you can continue with the conditionals to the point where it almost would seem more reasonable to take the bear. Most men would still take the idea of the gay prisoner because they're just looking at the chances of if a random gay prisoner spawned in with you, this person could at least be reasoned with, and a bear's going to eat your face, right?
Yeah, and I just felt, like I said, it's just real disturbing, this assumed negativity when it comes to men. Like, even when he brought up the poll of the women, your first response was, well, where they from. It's like when it comes to these lists with women, all this nuance is required. But when it comes to men, it's just assumed that they're gonna do that. But you don't ask, well, what's his upbringing? What's his mentality like? Where is he from? No, those questions are not asked when it comes to men. When it comes to women, it's like, we need all this nuance. And it's just like, I feel like modern women live in this world between fear and fantasy.
I want
They
to bring
watch-
up something
Hold on,
about the
hold on,
poll
finish.
when you're done.
They're in this, even when it comes to stuff that women watch. Women like to watch a lot of, romantic films of these fantastical situations that never happen. And then on the contrary, they like to watch horror and all these crimes of when men are just doing these diabolical things to women. It's like, if you're constantly feeding your mind fear and fantasy, you're not dealing with reality, which is in neither one of these worlds. And I just feel like you could just tell when you ask women certain questions that they just really think the worst of men. It's just embedded in y'all. I don't know what's going on today.
I think.
I'm-
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I'm going to go out on a limb.
Oh, bingo,
Feminism.
got it,
Feminism.
forgot.
I'm
yeah.
going to go out on a limb and assume that the ladies that are answering these polls when it comes to the essay, they're thinking about, okay, I'm fantasizing about someone who is dominant, who is handsome, who maybe it's, I don't know, someone wealthy that's
I don't
just
think
dominating
we're really
me
interested in the poll so
versus,
far. We're more interested in
versus
the
a random
conversation.
man that's coming and
it's
attacking
still,
you.
but I respect that. But you're still just making an excuse because it's a woman instead of just dealing with what it is. Like,
I'm not making an excuse.
no, you are
I'm
because
making an
you
assumption.
added mad stuff to it. You added that she's rich and anybody.
Kind of like you've done earlier.
What did I add? Give me an example.
Like when we were watching the video and you were talking about it.
Give me an
Like,
example. Because you said that I'm assuming that a woman who fantasizes about being assaulted is talking about a man who's handsome and talk. You don't want to be assaulted by somebody you're attracted to. So that doesn't make sense to me. Anybody that you appeal to,
wanna
you
be
don't want
assaulted
them
by
to
anyone.
you. That doesn't make sense to me.
There was
I don't see how that
one
makes
question
sense.
that didn't get answered. How many women answered in total in the world? How many women answered that poll with that answer?
I'm assuming it was.
I don't know. I don't know what the total of them are. I don't
Because
think it
that's-
matters. Hang on.
It
I don't
does.
think it. Hang on. I'm trying to answer.
Okay, sorry.
So I'm not sure that that would matter. All you would need is to have a statistical enough sample size that it was statistically significant, and the studies that I'm reading say that their sample sizes are statistically significant.
Another thing, who is funding those studies?
Well, most of these are funded by women's clinics, though many of them I would have to look into the background. But most of the time, studies are funded by progressive institutions, not conservative ones. So I don't see how there would be a publishing bias against women exactly.
Because sometimes there occasionally is, depending on who puts on the study. But
Related to that, I have a quick question. She cited this like commonly perpetuated statistic in colleges, 1 in 4. Are you prepared to make the same sort of criticism over the
no, because
the
I've looked
methods?
into that number.
Oh, you've looked into that
I
one.
have.
Okay.
I actually have.
Yeah, and
I'm familiar.
Is it a valid?
I think that it is very.
So 1 in 4
valid.
women have been like full-blown essayed.
Yeah, I would say more than that. Of,
What do you think about the
of women in
DOJ?
my
What do you think
life.
about the like official like FBI and DOJ statistics
I
where
would
they
s-
actually like they're collecting actual crime data instead of polling random, like they're actually analyzing the crime statistics.
Well, here's the data point that backs up Brian. The data point is that when polled, college students who are male give significantly higher numbers of being essayed than women do.
All I was trying to mention with the poll is that you said that it was gathered from dating apps. Many women are not on
Some of
dating
them.
apps.
Sometimes.
I'm not a-
Pew
I've never been on
Research
a
has
dating
done
app.
these. Many different people have done these. One such study that you can look at, National Institute of Health. These are government studies. Though they don't tell you some of the information that you're asking, and I would have to look into the undercurrent. And I think that that's fair, right, to ask who's conducting the studies and why. They do seem to be statistically significant. So hang on. A team of researchers based University of North Texas and Notre Dame studied 355 women. That's statistically significant. A part of the research involved participants being able to read R-word fantasy scenario over headphones to investigate how aroused they became. In the study published, the academic journal of behavior participants were, and the number of how many did was kind of staggering, right? So that's just one study, one aspect of this study, but there's other ways that this research is conducted. I can't give you all the details because I don't know them, but it does seem like it's a fairly firm fact that this is pretty common.
Also, the 1 in 4 study, it included things like, for example, catcalling. It included catcalling. It also included, were one of the parties, did they have more than one alcoholic beverage? So they counted consensual sex, but if even both of the parties had had more than 1 or 2 drinks, they counted that as SA. Do you think
So-
that that's SA if like...
If someone is if
No.
someone is
Wait, absolutely?
intoxicated-
Who said absolutely?
I mean, if both parties are under the influence, is that what you're saying?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well then I guess they're both
If
SA
both
each other.
parties has had 2 beers, you said that's SA?
Yeah, I mean, because,
2 beers.
well, they still know what they're doing, don't they?
I would say it
Wait,
depends on how the beers
No,
affect.
hold on, stop, hold on.
I guess I'm confused at the question.
So, a man has 2 beers, a woman has 2 beers.
Oh, no.
They have sex. Is that SA?
Oh, no, I thought you meant just if they were intoxicated, that it doesn't count or something. That's what we
Wait,
we
what?
misunderstood. We misunderstood.
Yeah, this is.
Yeah, we
It's too woke. Like,